Hello, everybody. Welcome back to America's Grandmasters Playoffs. I'm TJ, joined by Soddle, and we have the pleasure of bringing you the winners match for this playoffs group. It's Dog versus Eddie, and we were talking during the break a little bit about Eddie's performance in the last game, and you were my practice partner yesterday.
I was.
Holy Wrath Paladin.
Yeah, and I think you did an awesome job on the car, so it's very nice to see all that practice paying off.
I know. I learned things by getting crushed by you over and over again, and having a 4-bomb-in-a-row outer against you. It's the only game I won.
Dude, it was nice. You're actually my demon. I just can't seem to beat you in anything that matters, but like practice matches, yeah, it's fine. No big deal.
Yeah. But I'll draw the nuts when it matters.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've learned about myself over the years of playing Hearthstone. But let's start talking about this next match, Eddie versus Dog. It's Holy Wrath Paladin versus Rogue. And for once, Dog decided to deviate. For a while, he's been kind of following Frozen. They've been practicing together, teammates on Team Liquid, both at the top of their divisions. But did not bring the Pogo Rogue like Frozen this week. Opted to go for just a pretty standard tempo-ish Rogue.
Yeah.
Which we'll see how it fares off. What do you think of this deck? Fairy Dragon main deck? Yay?
I'm on board with it, honestly. I think it's something that I wish we'd seen more of developing through Season 1 is, players making a couple of percentage point sacrifices in their primary deck to give them more options to get, complete coverage overall, right? So, Fairy Dragon, I want to have it against Mage, not so much against some other matchups, but I'll put it in there because I have this restriction of 5 cards. That's all I'm allowed to change, so I need to kind of, make considerations further down the road. But, yeah, as you mentioned, Frozen, who is a teammate, practice partner, good friend of Dog, has gone with the Pogo Rogue here. And I know I've definitely had that experience of, prepping for tournaments, having a practice group, having a team, whatever it is. And there's that one guy on the team that's like, hey, this X off-meta deck is the nuts, dude. You have to bring this. And you just, pat him on the head and yeah, all right, buddy. I'm sure. You keep playing with your little Pogo Hoppers. But honestly, I'm kind of on Frozen's side with this one. I love Pogo Hopper Rogue. I think it's a very powerful deck, but it is a risk for sure because it's unproven. It's not, the consensus strong deck, whereas this version of Rogue is.
Yeah, it's also Pogo Hopper Rogue does have some different iterations. It plays a little bit differently, and maybe Dog just feels more comfortable on this traditional version of Rogue. So a lot of things could play into it, but it does come down to this. Granted, nobody has been eliminated yet. Purple, if you're a Purple fan out there, he's still got a chance. He will play against the loser of this match to decide who moves forward as the second spot, but the winner of this match moves directly to the semifinals. And I'm sure Dog, who's had a great season, sees his teammate Frozen already in the semifinals, wants to make it there. But on the other hand, Eddie, kind of one of the surprise performers from Americas, because not a lot of people know him, and even the people that didn't even recognize him as Eddie because he changed his name coming into Grandmasters. So one of the, I guess I could call him an underdog, not for his play, but just for his recognition. But he's been playing pretty on point so far.
Yeah, and this is dangerous ground for me to walk into, as we know. Shout out to Muzzy, but Eddie last year and the year before certainly seemed like a player who struggled with nerves when he was on camera. He seemed to crush it through all these off-camera games, like the early rounds in playoffs, for example. And then it would get to the point where he's done insanely well, so he gets on camera, and then we're kind of sat there we don't really agree with a lot of these plays that are going on. What's happening? But this year, for sure, just consistent experience with being on camera week after week after week. He's looked so solid throughout all of America.
Yeah, it didn't make sense because you looked at him and you're like, wow, Sehun's doing fantastic this tournament.
Yeah.
And then every time you watched him play, for the first 6 months to a year of his career, you're like, how is he winning? But has just being on camera for 8 weeks now of Grandmasters certainly has helped. Still has those times of flutter, but definitely a much different Eddie from a year ago. But getting into it, Eddie, True Silver champion against pretty much any deck that relies on tempo or aggression, as Holy Wrath Paladin is priority number 1.
It's just such a good card still. In current year, 2019, True Silver champion still carrying Paladin through tough spots.
I mean, I don't think it's ever not been good.
Right. There's been points where the type of Paladin that would play True Silver champion has just been garbage because there was 0 of the 28 other cards that you'd like to play to go in the deck.
Or the type of Paladin that didn't play True Silver champion couldn't play True Silver Champion, like Odd Paladin.
Right. I mean, there were times where people deliberately had the choice and played like Rallying Blade over True Silver, because it was like a 2-mana 2/3 heavy meta, and that worked out a lot better. But yeah, you look at some of the matchups. Rogue, like you equip it, you kill a Blink Fox, you kill a Henge Clan Burglar. Exactly what's happened here. Like that's the dream scenario, but it's also one of the most common scenarios that you come into. And then like Beast Hunter, for example, Animal Companion. You don't have the True Silver Champion, you're dead. Like the game actually ends at that point.
I hope you like my invention.
But speaking of this matchup holistically, it can be tough for the Paladin, just because even like reasonably small boards are still incredibly threatening because the damage adds up and Rogue has a lot of burst damage from hand. So you do have to mind your life total, and you have to try and be able to play around certain breakpoints. And Rogue is the deck where it feels like it takes you the longest to cycle through your deck. And maybe that doesn't even mean you actually are taking longer to cycle through your deck. It just feels like you are. Because they're presenting like a reasonably sized minion every turn.
Right. There are very few turns where you just get to go like Crystology, Prismatic Lens. That's my turn. Go.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't happen.
All right.
Enough.
Take 8.
Right.
All right. You shrink raid my 10/10 Edwin. Take 6. Maybe not. I think Henge Clan Burglar is probably better here.
I take this. Oh, and that.
Oh, I guess Powered Shield has to be the best here.
Yeah.
Unless you just really want boom shit.
I hope you like my invention.
You just have a High Spear and Togwaggle in the deck.
Oh!
He could goblet some Leroys.
Sure.
I'm just thinking outside the box here. Alternative win condition. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Not for Eddie. No such thing.
Pyro looking like it's going to come in pretty clutch, if not this turn, then very soon. Pyro Consecration would be kind of the dream this turn. Just end up buying so much time, sorry.
Also, Timeout is an interesting card in this matchup because you can effectively force more resources out of your opponents when you know you're going to board clear.
Yeah.
It's not the case where... well, sometimes it is the case, but not often is it the case where you have to save timeouts until right before you're about to go on the combo.
Absolutely.
If you just keep their board clear and use timeout to bait out more resources, force the rogue to extend further onto the board, then that can often gain you more life than it would if you had saved it until the end of the game.
Yeah, I think when Timeout first got released, people were like, "Oh, it's Ice Block," but I think in some ways, like it's a lot more flexible than Ice Block is, and I'm sure this is gonna cause Admirable to start making fun of me at some point. But like some turns, yeah, it's Ice Block, but some turns it's also Frost Nova. Like that's what makes it so powerful, because you can just say this board of minions does not get to attack me next turn.
Yeah. It's like if Mage could roll Ice Barrier and Ice Block into the same card, nobody would play anything but Mage. Or sorry, Frost Nova in Ice Block. Dog does have a lot of damage in hand right now. Is missing a Shadow Step. He used it earlier to get that big edge off. But still has a copy of it in the deck. Whew.
Book of Spectres, when you find it in Rogue, is generally pretty darn powerful. It's an extremely minion-heavy deck these days, now that things like Preparation and so on have fallen by the wayside. People aren't playing fans and shivs and all that kind of nonsense.
There's only 7 spells in the whole deck.
Too soon.
They're impactful, but there's only 7 of them. Big to note, a smart hold on the Power Word Shield on the turn that Dog picked it up. I think me and many other players, even a few on Grandmasters, have dumped their non-class card before Vendetta. It has happened. I can think of 2 instances in my head.
In Americas, maybe. Jeez. Cast a real region.
I did.
Ah, okay.
This morning, it was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about this? Cast a diverse region when it comes to decks.
All right, yeah, I'll hold that.
How many Holy Wrath Paladins have you had in Europe?
None since I've been here. Have we had any before that?
I don't remember. You've had some Nomi priests, though. We haven't had any of those.
Yeah.
But come on.
It has been interesting to me, the differences just in trends. Like, you guys are just so much more warrior heavy than us as well, like on top of that.
Yeah, we were actually the least diverse region up until the playoffs, so I can't really talk.
Must move quickly.
I'm gonna shut up now.
Only took like 4 years.
Guess what? I lied.
Yeah,
It was my invention.
Yeah, this is not good. Still 14 cards left in Eddie's deck, and Dog with just Waggle Pick and Leroy has 20 damage over 2 turns. Now, timeouts will complicate that.
Yep.
But it's not like that damage combo is going anywhere.
Right.
Um,
And it's not like, you know, sometimes when you're playing Mage against Rogue, you're able to stall out that combo for a couple of turns, and then that allows you to set up something huge, like a big wall of 7-8 taunts. Like, no, Eddie, like, you run out of protective resources with Paladin. Like, if you're doing this when you're still 14 cards away from the bottom of your deck, as you are in Eddie's position, you're going to run out of ways to stop this onslaught coming very soon.
yeah, Prismatic Lens looks quite expensive when you look at it from this position.
Yep.
Against Warrior, sure, just chuck them out. Who cares? I got all the time in the world.
Too soon.
Rush Lackey over the Evolve in that position?
Double time and double pay.
I mean, you get to clear off the 1/1, and it puts a similar amount of power on board as evolving.
Puts +2/+1 on board, which would, like, what would that equate to? A 3/5 off the Evolve? Yeah, alright, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
So it's like average same amount of power, but you kill a 1/1.
And now Eddie going through the ritual of the combo player, which is looking at a seemingly just completely dead game and trying to find your 0.5% out to get out of this game.
This does seem to be where Eddie thrives. He was known as a combo deck player throughout, like, Dream Hacks in previous years, and then last year throughout Tour Stops. Combo and Control was the name of the game for Eddie.
Move quickly.
Not so much Warrior. He was mostly the guy that tried to beat the Warriors.
Right.
Which turned out to be much different throughout the Grandmasters.
Timeout, and the fact that he's now picked up a Flash of Light alongside Kangor in hand maybe gives him some hope.
Yeah, he actually can go Crystal Smith Kangor Ziliak's Flash Flight next turn for 14 health gain, which he's hoping buys him time to get to either a board clear or a second timeout. And then from Doc's position, it's about, well, all right, what do I do here? Do I try and
So many options.
remax my board with pressure and play further into removal?
Well, I think you do, right? Because your opponent cannot rip a big, like a quality-based board clear or shrink rate-based board clear and heal for huge amounts of health at the same time. So I think just full alpha this turn, just make the biggest board. Just pressure as hard as you can, just makes sense.
Yeah.
Honestly, he doesn't really have like huge pressure minions available to him anyway. Ziliax is like his most pressure right now.
Yeah, Acidic Swamp is...
Yeah. Get him, buddy. I guess there's also a downside of just more minions you have on board, the less likely you are to hit damage off your Waggle Pick pickup as well, which can end up being relevant.
Yeah. But then by forcing removal, by having a bigger board, you increase the chances of getting Leroy from your Waggle Pick.
Wait, oh, I see what you're saying, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I wonder.
by decreasing your chances to get Leroy from Waggle Pick, you increase your chances
Right.
to get Leroy.
Well, yeah. So you create two worlds. One where it doesn't matter because you just have so much damage on board
Yeah.
because you've made a big board, and then if that board gets cleared, then you're down to just, Leroy on an empty board.
Yeah. I think I explained that
wonder.
way better than you, though.
I mean, we'll take a poll.
The light bends to my
Such a huge heal, but the fact that it's not fully addressing the board state.